If only apartheid was a man, you know, a man who just was the architect of the apartheid government, the apartheid regime, you know, ageless. A man that you can just see and identify. You see Mr. Apartheid walking down the street there, you know, and your spouse was saying, how dare you? How dare you cheat on me? And I caught you red-handed. And you're like, no, it was apartheid. Mr. Apartheid made me do it. That would have just been great. Blame it on apartheid. You know, you go to your work and your manager be waiting for you. You were late at work and you just come walking through. And your boss like, what is it again? Are you going to be, is it traffic? Were you stuck in traffic? And you're like, no, it's apartheid. Apartheid made me do it, you know. And I just don't know why. It's apartheid. We're like, oh, okay. If it's apartheid, it's fine then. You're welcome at work. The latest story now is the KZN safety authorities blame apartheid for lack of police station in Umthwalume. Umthwalume is the place where the bodies of 5 women have been discovered. And because of lack of a number of police stations, apartheid was being blamed. And the ANC government has been in power for over 25 years. But yeah, apartheid is responsible, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm saying. If only apartheid was a man that you could just see, you know, who's ageless, who just doesn't die. For the next 50 years, he'd be walking around, we'd be seeing him as like, that's him, that's the guy who made me do this. Yeah, I got drunk and passed out, and that's the guy who made me do it. It's crazy. So, speaking of authorities, today they're going to speak. You know the drill. The president comes up, announces level 2. Few days later, the relevant department would come through and try to explain what the president is saying, and then the journalist asked questions. Why can't we try to find some other answers from the president? You're speaking to the president through us. Hallelujah. So, common sense is one of the other things that our government just don't like it. They you know, they don't like it. Remember when they said that the restaurants would close at 9 p.m. and some people pointed out, you know, we go to the restaurants, we get there at 8. They prepare our meal just about the time when we're in the middle of our meal. What's the time? It's 9 o'clock. The curfew has begun. Alright? Then you run off there, wipe your mouth, tomato sauce and whatever that you be having all over you. And then the government said, okay guys, we're gonna be extending your eating time from 9 to 10. So now when you go to the restaurant at 8, at least we hope that by 9 o'clock you'll be done with your food, so you'll be driving. Hopefully you're closer to the to your place of residence. Otherwise, you're gonna get locked up. So they've done it again. They're talking about alcohol being opened and alcohol being sold now in clubs and so forth. They're specifically saying that alcohol will be sold from Monday to Thursday. Don't ask me the rationale why alcohol is not going to be sold on Friday and Saturday. Because they said that the space for the hospital beds, now it's not that heavily impacted. So there's obviously it's not going to be a rationale or a statistic as to why they're not selling alcohol on Saturday and Sunday. But I think They're enjoying the power, the National Disasters Act power, to just make sure that each and every industry is being controlled. They've extended another 30 days for the disaster management, so that in case, they'll be able to wag their fingers at everyone and say, if you don't behave, children, you don't behave, we're gonna go back to level 5. So they're having fun. So now, they haven't spoken about they haven't clarified about the clubs. I suppose clubs will, common sense, would open from obviously on Fridays and Saturday. Yeah, well, most people go to the club at 10, so forget about that now. Probably going to be clubbing at 5 p.m. so that at 10 o'clock you're out of there. So it's a little bit tricky, this one. The club or the bar restaurant closes at 10 o'clock, okay? So last call for your drink there. You have your drink and you check in your watch, and then at 10 o'clock the bar closes and then you're about to leave. Guess what happens? At 10 o'clock it's curfew time. So again, there's madness in terms of common sense. So the curfew starts at 10 o'clock, and at the same time the bars will be closing at 10 o'clock. Maybe during the week they would say, guys, we've noticed the discrepancies because the club closes at the same time as the curfew. So the minute you finish your drink and you try to get into your Uber or your Bolt / Taxify, who knows, they're going to be grabbing you out of the Taxify into police van to prison because you've broken the curfew. Yet the club is being allowed to close at 10, but at 10 is curfew time. So next week maybe they'll say we will move it a little bit to 11 o'clock in terms of the curfew, so that your club closes at 10. You'll be able to drive to wherever you're going to drive, but don't bet on it. So at the end of the day, the economic power won. And I'm not talking about the economic freedom fighters, just the power of economy. Probably the statisticians and the economists and everyone who have an ear to our president said, oh, look at the stats. And probably Titombo was like, yeah, well, I told you guys, this is what we're going to be having, but you wanted to be headliners. You know, a little bit of family feud there without Steve Harvey. So we are where we are now. We know some businesses are not coming back. So we'll see what's going to be happening. And funny enough, one thing that impresses me a little bit is the fact that the alcohol industry, the case is continuing, because the government has a tendency of, when you take them to court, they open up the selling of liquor, and then you drop your case, and then later on along the line they close down. So the liquor industry litigants are saying that they're not going to drop this. They're going to go all the way to court, have a judgment with regard to what was happening. And there's also the tavern owners, that union also, which initially said that they wanted to go to court, and then they were grabbed aside and got spoken to by the government. I remember they said that they're going to divert some of the tourism department funds to pay them. They pay them, remember? Then they got quiet, and then later on there was shutdown of selling of liquor, and they're still being politically correct. We're not being consulted by the government, but we still have a hope and believe that we will meet at the table and common sense will prevail. We're requesting for the statistics to see as to how many people go to the hospital and occupy all these spaces for folks who are supposed to be in their beds because of the being suffering from the communist virus. But we hope that the government will engage us. We're very disappointed that the government did not engage us when they pulled the plug on Sunday night for closing down the selling of alcohol, kowtowing and begging and rolling all over to the government. And if you roll over to the government will run over you. Okay? You gotta organize as an industry. You gotta take them to court. You gotta take them to the streets. That's the only language that governments understands. Because governments in most countries, even democracies, they've lost their ways. They've got a huge hand in reaching in everyone's pocket and making sure that they're taking out the money, they're distributing the wealth, they're choosing winners and losers. They will take your money and tax you as a hard-working individual, take your money and go to a constituency of people, obviously, who are not being working, and claim that they're the one, as the government, who are giving them money, and encourage those people to vote for the same government again, which is still going to keep them poor. Okay? Remember the Mr. Reyes Beta, the original Panyaza Lisufi. Remember, he was speaking to some folks, homeless folks, and told them that the government is going to give you 350 rands, and that's your 350 rands. You can do whatever you like with that 350 rands. We're not going to be asking you what you've been using this 350 rands for. It's your 350 rands. And it's not. That's the taxpayers' money. That 350 is from the taxpayers' money. Okay? The government takes it out of your pocket and go distribute it to their constituencies. Some of those folks you saw that the Reyes Beta Panyaza Lisufu was talking to, you find that some of the guys are like sniffing glue, some are smoking nyaupe and so forth. Instead of saying, listen, we're going to be giving you 350, of which we have taxed the hard-working South Africans, the law-abiding citizen whom once in every 3 days we cut off their electricity because of the power failures, as we, the incompetent ANC government, have caused, and butchering and botching the communist virus money through tenders and the PPEs, and quadrupling the prices of these products about 300% and so forth. We humbly would like to implore you who are going to get this 350, just use that 350 wisely. We know some of you folks are addicts. Don't go buy glue with this. Don't go buy nyaupe with this. But no, use the money the way you like it. This money is from the government. We make money for you. But obviously it's the constituency that the ANC is looking to impress in order for them to vote for them. That's how it works. So at the end of the day today, we'll be seeing what are the outlines of this level 2 story. I was just laughing to myself with regard to this curfews. You go to level 2 and you still have a curfew. So if you drive from Joburg to Cape Town, it's going to be several hours. So the big question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to stop by a petrol station and sleep over there because the clock has struck 10 o'clock? Or you're driving from Joburg, you're heading to Limpopo, you get stuck in traffic until it's 10 o'clock. Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to be explaining to the authority? By authorities, I mean the servants of the people who've been voted for. They'll be telling you, the curfew is on. What are you doing driving in the street? I got stuck in traffic. I had a puncture. I had to fix my car tire. Got stuck in traffic. That's the reason why I'm here. Or are they going to haul you away into the police station? I mean, this is the craziness that we're seeing. But you can understand that they always say that once you got a taste of power, you don't want to let it go. I mean, this is power grabbing time by the African National Congress right now. That's why they've extended the National Disasters Act for another month, in case there's some dictatorial decrees that I, as the government, needs to issue to my subjects, because effectively now we subjects, basically, because they just willy-nilly exercising this power. If we have flattened the curve and the numbers of people who are succumbing to the communist virus is getting lower, we've got space in the hospitals. We're now saying that people can go visit their relatives and do the interprovincial travel. Surely you can stop dispensing with the curfew of 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. because there are going to be a whole lot of dynamics that are going to be happening. Oh, by the way, congratulations to the government for another hiring. I remember when the ANC government was criticizing the where we govern in Western Cape, when they're saying that they're not going to be allowing people to do the land invasion, right? And the ANC said, we're not going to do anything. Right now, we're going to wait until we're done with the communist virus, and then it's when we can start dealing with this issue. So now in Gauteng province, people have been finding an open land, settling in all those open land everywhere, and there was no one who was dealing with that. So obviously, as an individual, we take advantage of that. Now, the Korta member, the gentleman Laboram Maile here now has just announced that they've hired 1,500 people, the brigades, that are going to be driving around doing patrols just to find if people are settling into new places so that they can stop them. They're going to buy time, and I suppose when they're in level 1, they're going to start evicting people. So congratulations, they've created employment of 1,500 people. And I wonder who's got the tender now. So maybe this is going to be a new occurrence where you just let people settle wherever they want to settle. And then if somebody says this is maybe a government-owned place, or a business person's owned place, or a place where the community next door are at odds with people who are settling wherever they want to settle, and they're saying this is going to affect the pricing of our neighborhood, and then it's when then you take action, and then it's when you hire more and more brigades to patrol places so that people cannot be able to settle. It's one of the craziest things that are happening with regard to the government of their job creation scheme. So that's just my take for today. Thanks for watching the Mamuji Show. We will chat later.